Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Miles Trial. This is a special show brought to you by the NFSC Speaks team. Today is day 12 of the MILESGUO trial. Just for a little bit of background for those of us, so for the viewers that have not watched the show, in the past, Miles is currently Miles' trial is currently undergoing in the Southern District Court of New York. He is facing a number of fraud charges and also one count of RICO charge, but he has pled not guilty to these charges, and currently he is on trial on day 12, and we are currently on the witness number 10 from the government side as per yesterday. So before we actually get into the show today, I want to introduce myself to the audience. My name is Saturn. Some of you guys have probably seen me before on the show Infiltration Files on Saturday, right after Ava Chan's show Whistleblowers. And this show will be live from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want more updates on Miles' trial, please tune in to watch the show. And with that being said, I just also want to give you a little bit of a run through of today's program. Unlike yesterday, today we will actually have one of our members give us a live reporting from right outside the Southern District Court of New York. And also right after that, we will be having a discussion panel with some of the members who have attended the trial today to give us give us a update on the case. So with that being said, let's have Max on the show. How are you doing,
Hi there,
Max?
Saturn. I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Absolutely. It's absolutely my honor to be here live reporting from the Southern District Courthouse where Miles is currently undergoing trial. So I would love to give you some updates today. It's been a very, very hectic day to start off with. Like you said, the government introduced their 10th witness just yesterday. Her name is Ya Li, also known by her online alias as Mulan, as many of our fellow fighters may have already seen that name before. But yeah, just to give you an overview of, for example, when we all came into the courthouse, the past few days it has been completely packed with supporters and people who are interested in this case. I can tell you that the courthouse is filled to the brim with eager eyes and curious minds, to the point where even the lower courthouse, who shows the screening, is also quite full as well.
Yeah, thank you for the brief recap. And also, I want to bring some more clarity to the viewers who did not watch yesterday's episode. So what do you mean by this 10th witness, Ya Li, that her alias is Mulan? That, like, what does that alias come from? What is her background?
So the alias came from... Yeah, for sure. So her background is she was an accountant in Australia, and she participated within the whistleblowers movement from 2017 when she became a follower of Mr. Miles. She only operated under the alias Mulan, and she never showed her real face. And in fact, yesterday was the first time she came out and showed her real face to the internet, to the public eye, her real name, her real face, in testifying against MILESGUO in this trial. However, before, she was a fellow fighter as well, who Miles closely trusted and appointed as many important roles. For example, the director of the Rule of Law Foundation. She ran the G Translator group, and she was also a farm leader herself.
Right, and just so I'm gonna give the viewers a little bit more clarity. The G Translator and the farms you just mentioned, these are essentially just chapters of the new federal state of China, and this 10th witness Mulan happens to be a leader of one of these chapters. Just to sum it up a little bit more, and first and foremost, how is Miles today? I think a lot of the viewers are dying to find out how Miles seems today.
Absolutely. I think one must ask, where does Miles get all his energy? Because he's looking exuberant as always. He came in with bright smiles, acknowledging all of us in the stand. He currently is sporting a gray suit with a white dress shirt and a blue tie. He's looking fine as usual, and we could see him chatting with his lawyers oftentimes throughout the case. But other than that, he's been very, very welcoming, and even been very gracious with all the witnesses that have been testifying as a part of the government.
That's great to hear. I mean, it's unbelievable how Miles does it. Him being on this trial. and still staying energetic and so positive. You gotta really admire the integrity of Miles. Well,
Absolutely.
let's move on a little bit more to the details that transpired during the case. I know we just started cross-examining the 10th witness yesterday. How many witnesses are there in total today? Are they still on the 10th witness, or are there a couple more that showed up?
Yeah, for sure. So today was a very, very busy day. It moved very, very fast. Like you said, just yesterday we ended up on the first cross-examination of the 10th witness. And by today, when I was exiting the courthouse at 2:30, we actually had begun a direct of the 12th witness. So we finished the 10th witness, a cross, a redirect, and a recross. And then the government brought on its 11th witness as well as the 12th witness. And I'll get into their backgrounds shortly. But I'm sure my colleagues will be able to join you soon and tell you about the ending of what happened with the 12th witness, and even if there is a 13th one being brought on today. But yeah, to give you an idea, it has been a very, very fast-paced day. If you want, I can get into the backgrounds of the witnesses, or maybe we can talk a bit about the 10th witness though.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the 10th witness, because it seems very fast-paced to have 3 witnesses be present on the same day. So let us just start from the 10th, and then we'll move on to the other 2.
Absolutely. So the 10th witness, just to give the audience a bit of a recap, yesterday the direct examination, from my view, to be honest, I'm not in-depth. I don't have an in-depth understanding of many of the operations of NFSC since I haven't been here for quite as long. But from a juror standpoint, I can give you a very objective execution of what has transcribed. So first of all, I believe the direct examination of Lee, it painted a paper trail of money, since she was able to provide a lot of bank statements that linked each entity to which entity, and it linked all the entities together, providing the government as this case of a criminal enterprise. And their key ideas was to list out all the investment projects that were paused and evolved into different investment projects. And she kept repeating certain elements like lied, tricked, deceived. And she also reiterated how she trusted MILESGUO, and there was a lot of negligence on her part. And it even went into the emotional appeal of crying. She mentioned suicide, she mentioned her daughter, a lot of that type of execution. So when we began the cross-exam from yesterday, our main objectives were to challenge her truthfulness, her entire testimony, whether it stands on fundamental grounds or not, and get to the truth through nuance. So if I may, I want to give you a quick recap of today's cross-exam, where the defense continued to establish a very shaky basis of her testimony. Like, even when she answers, I believe the juror is questioning believing the question itself more than the answer, due to the way that she's been answering these questions. And I just want to give you an example. When she's asked about certain things, she may go like, oh, I don't know, I don't remember, even though we know for a fact that she has has a master's in a reputable university in Australia. She's a very meticulous person doing taxes for industrial small business needs, etc., etc. So in this case, I believe from a juror's perspective, you can see that she's not being truthful or withholding information at the very least with her testimony.
Okay, so hold on a second. There's a piece of detail I wanted to focus on a little bit, and it's the fact that I think you started off with introducing her background as an accountant, and I believe also yesterday, it took her a while to recollect what institution she got her degree from. Correct?
That is very true, and it's in these small gestures where it feels like she's not being 100% truthful, because even recalling her institution, she took maybe about 2 minutes to finally explain to the court, or had the judge personally ask her what the name of the institution was.
Wow, I mean, hey, let's leave that to the jury to decide. And speaking
Absolutely.
of that, I mean, how did the jury seem like? How did the jury seem like yesterday when she was appearing to be emotional, while being directly examined, and also the jury today?
Right. So I want to point out that the jury during the direct, it felt to me that they were being lulled into a very calm, I dare say sleepy disposition because of the way that the evidence was presented. It was a long list of paper trails, and it was very oddly juxtaposed by the fact that she started crying at the end when the CCP was mentioned, her daughter was mentioned, everything that she put on the line was mentioned. But as soon as we took the cross, I think the jury definitely started being more attentive because it was very, very fast-paced. It was very rapid. The defense lawyer, Sabrina, she did an amazing job at correcting a lot of the or bringing nuance to a lot of the points that was brought up yesterday. So I actually wanted to, if I may, bring up yesterday's transcript, which was very interesting that I feel like the jury may have had a reaction to. So yesterday's transcript, as you know, Mrs. Lee, she received a non-prosecution agreement from the government. And the non-prosecution agreement stated that she won't be prosecuted if she was truthful and told the full truth, the complete truth, and whatnot. So this was from the transcript. Regarding the non-prosecution agreement, our defense lawyer asked, and they decide you're telling the truth or not, correct, in reference to the government deciding if she's telling the truth or not. And she answered, no. We asked, really? And we asked, when you met with them, and she interrupted saying, I decide myself. You decide yourself. Yes. So you decide if you're telling the truth, and if they decide are lying, all that matters is you're telling the truth. And she says, no. It matters what they think about what you are saying, correct? And she says, no. When you met with them in the proffer sessions, each time they talked to you, they told you to tell them the truth, right? And she says, no. So I believe the whole court was extremely, extremely confused during the entire cross-examination, and it even brought on a lot of these confusing elements during today's trial as well, during the direct as well as the cross-examination.
Right. I mean, hey, I think that's a very interesting detail to point at, because again, you know, if you're testifying in court, you're under oath, and you're supposed to say the truth and nothing but the truth. And here we have, I think, from the looks of it, a lot of going back and forths and flip-flops on a lot of the answers, as opposed to, you know, as opposed to the truthfulness of her testimony. So again, I think also for Miles's legal team, what do you think are some of the arguments that they're trying to go for in today's testimony? Because Miles's legal team is extremely spectacular in what they do, and I think through a lot of their questionings, if you really look at it and see some of the arguments they are trying to make, it's truly a sight to see, and definitely one of the cases to follow through in this time.
Absolutely, and it's been super interesting following along just because of the amazing performance that they have displayed. And one of the main points that they have been conveying through this cross-exam today and yesterday was a direct contradiction of her words and how she presented herself through her actions and her positioning. So I believe they went through with an argument where they said the subpoena was thrown away. In her words, the subpoena was thrown away. And it was mentioned that the subpoena is a legal document, and under legal pretenses, you shouldn't be throwing it away. But she said Miles told her to throw it away, which is a direct contradiction as her statement that even if you're a target of CCP, you shouldn't be conducting illegal activities. So there were a bunch of different contradictions that she had to her own words through her own actions, and I'm sure the panel will get into a more in-depth discussion of that, but I'm gladly would love to point out the fact that the way that the witness was dismissed was when she was asked by the defense lawyer, are you here today to testify against MILESGUO? To which she answered no. And she was asked one more time, are you here today to testify against MILESGUO? And she said no. And that's how she was dismissed. There was a bunch of in-between details that I would love to see being fleshed out by the panel, because it was truly an interesting case through all the institutions that were mentioned, through all the entities that were mentioned. But one must question whether or not her testimony is, in fact, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yeah, I mean, again, thank you for giving us the background on what transpired today in regards to the 10th witness. I'm sure the discussion panel will get very interesting, being that it's going to revolve a lot around the legitimacy of a lot of what she said in court. So again, Max, thank you for coming on today, and we look forward to seeing you give another report for us at the Southern District Court of New York.
Thank you so much, Saturn.
And now, before we get into the discussion panel, I would like to bring our attention to our NFSC Speak X account, formerly known as Twitter. On this account, as you can see right here, we are giving live updates whenever we can on the Miles trial, as it takes place every day. That the court is in session. There are a couple of days where the court is not in session, but when the court is in session, here is where you can find the most up-to-date information as it happens. And also, we will also have a show every day at 3 p.m. So without further ado, it's gonna be a very interesting show because we have the 10th witness to get through, and we also have, I believe, Max had 2 more witnesses after that. So let us welcome on Jackson and Feather, who have just returned from the trial. How you guys doing?
Good. Hi,
What's going on,
Saturn.
everybody? What up, Saturn?
Good.
I'm Feather. This is
I'm Jackson. And we're back again.
It's great. It's so great to have you guys, and I know you guys have been, doing such a great job following the case, and today is gonna be wonderful.
Yeah.
First and foremost, how is Miles today, and what is your impression of Miles?
Okay, well, Mr. MILESGUO is definitely the first highlight of the day, at least for myself. Mr. Miles came in, double-breasted suit as always, clean white shirt, light gray suit, and it was, I believe, a dark navy blue tie, correct?
Right, but we were sitting so in the pretty much the back of his back, so I didn't really pay attention to the tie color.
Yeah.
But there's one time during the cross-examination, I was looking at him. He was looking at his, side profile facing us, and he was looking at the lawyer. And he turned his head, and he saw me, and he gave me a nod and smiled at me. I was so happy. That's
it's
it.
the little details that, it's amazing. I mean, Mr. MILESGUO came in. Everybody came in on time today. Didn't have any problems, so we got started. Exactly at 9.
I feel like there's this aura around him. It's warm and it's so friendly. Even to anyone, that likes him, that doesn't like him, I think they can sense this aura no matter what. Of course, some of them won't admit it, but definitely it's very special about him. We all know that if we saw him in person. Yeah.
Yeah, again, there's a reason why Miles is the #1 enemy of the Chinese Communist Party, and you got to stay strong and energetic, and no matter how the situation gets, just because he's up against one of the most evil regimes, if not the most evil regime in history. So I mean, without further ado, let's get to talking about the 10th witness. What do you guys got for me?
I can't wait to talk about it. There's so many things that got covered today. So we continued our cross-examination with our former fellow Feather, also a former member of Iron Blood Group, which is a very close circle of Miles, we gone through a lot of things that wasn't covered yesterday because we just started the cross-examination, and this is what the most time spent on today, which is the cross-examination. So we talk about the bankruptcy case and the subpoena. Well, I want to first of all talk about the highlight just right at the beginning. It's about a subpoena document that she received from Paul Hastings. I don't know exact date, but she didn't read a document, because she said any legal documents, quote unquote, MILESGUO said to throw it away. So she listens to Miles, so she threw it away. Even though this particular document, the subpoena document, it's sent by mail. It's FedEx, yes, through FedEx, and she never opened the envelope. Even it says Paul Hastings Law Firm on it. And she knows that she's being subpoenaed because she knows what this document is about, but she threw it away, and she listened to it because Miles said in the broadcast about dustbins, about, and she's like, she listened to the broadcast, so that implements that she threw it away because she listens to Miles. And then when it's asked, what about the refund that Miles didn't ask you to do for the G Club membership for one of the farm members? That she did a farm, I think it's a G Club card refund to one of her farm members in the past, and then she didn't listen to Miles, and she just refunded him. So and there's a couple more examples that she didn't listen. For example, she was told to move. She was asked to move to Abu Dhabi, and she said no because of family reasons. So basically, it was proven that she had the capability to say no to Miles. She didn't listen to anything that Miles said. So, and then the question was proposed: when you didn't want to listen to Miles, you don't listen, right? And she's like, she doesn't answer for sure. She said that's different. She doesn't answer yes or no.
Correct.
I'll have to give other examples, but this is one of the highlights in the morning. So she's fully capable of saying no to the thing she doesn't want to do.
I think the reason why the Cross Sabrina brought it up is because from her past directs, right, she always claimed that anything Mr. MILESGUO said, I did it, because I trust him 100%, I listened to him 100%, and so she never said no to him, kind of, that's the picture that she was trying to paint. And today we went over a bunch of different examples of instances where she said no when she actually went, against what she was asked. So I think that's some of the things we had opened with today from our cross. It's very interesting. I mean, Sean Wei-jin, the CCP spy, his name was brought up early on. Let me take a look. I mean, it's super interesting because with the excuse me, with the subpoena. Okay, so let me see. Okay. Let me see.
Yeah, so you mean the subpoena where, that was sent to her and she didn't really open it and see it, just...
Correct. Yeah. She just threw it away. And then, so there are other examples what Feather mentioned about the G Club refund, which she actually took over the membership, but she later changed her language to saying, hey, I, refund it. So the picture that was painting, but anyways, Abu Dhabi example, same thing. And then she also testified in court saying that she contacted the trustee, which is Mr. MILESGUO's bankruptcy case, on her own without Mr. MILESGUO's knowledge or any Himalayan Alliance members' knowledge. It's very interesting. She said a lot today, and so we'll break it down for you guys.
Another thing, or just a really minor thing about GTV. So first time she heard about GTV is in April 2020. Okay, and she doesn't know. She says she doesn't know or either don't remember the reason why Miles built GTV. When she was asked the reason why he built GTV, was it because that his YouTube account, Twitter account got suspended? She's like, I don't know, I don't remember. So as a follower since the beginning, since 2017, this is in 2020 that the GTV started to be built. She does not know why. She doesn't want to. I don't know if she doesn't want to admit it, or she doesn't. She doesn't really doesn't truly remember the reason why Miles built GTV in the first place. Because there's no other means for him to broadcast online to spread the news, right? This is something I want to highlight.
That's very interesting because I remember yesterday from the transcripts that she did mention she's aware of these accounts and she's aware of the fact that his YouTube account is unable to broadcast.
Live, you're right. He's not able to go live on YouTube, and we all know by going live and without the back end post production done to a video, it's just more authentic, right?
Right.
It's more truthful. So that's definitely one of the reasons why Mr. Miles built.
Yeah, and a lot of actions she's done. It's all based on the fact that Miles told me, I believe him. Including and when she signed the documents on certain matters on investments, and when she was asked, did you carefully read the instructions? Did you carefully read the documents? She said no. And so Miles, who created documents? Miles did. If every institution is Miles is in control of every institution, then Miles made documents essentially that she did not read carefully as Miles told her to do. So it's very selective that we can see that there are things that she certainly just don't choose to listen to do, and there are things that she listens to everything, but then when prosecutor asked them, they selectively choose the things that she only listened to do. She listened to Miles and to do accordingly.
Yeah.
Right?
She was failing at her own logic on connecting the stories as to what she said the days prior versus today when they were asked. And something interesting is that Sabrina the Cross asked her, what is it? It says, you do believe that the platform would be the most successful after taking down the CCP, correct? Meaning GTV, right?
Yeah.
And nothing. She couldn't say anything. It was like dead air. But I think Sabrina did a great job. We definitely got the message across. Yeah.
So there's a couple more highlights I really wanted to share
because
it's so important because there's one thing about NFSC, New Federal State of China. Okay, it was founded in 2020, June the 4th, and the broadcast there were Miles and Ben on the boat, and there also the famous soccer player Hao Haidong, right? Which is located. Well, he's in Spain right now with his wife, and he was a part of this announcement. And what the question was he a part of it? First of all, she failed to recognize him. She failed to identify who he was because there's one part that the pronunciation of name wasn't very accurate. But then she's very. She seems not familiar with who he is as like a social identity as a soccer player. And when asked was he part of the NFSC announcement, and she said, but he just read out the statement. I have a quote unquote, but he just read out the statement, and then and our movement prepared the statement. She said our movement prepared the statement, and he just read it. So there's a distinguish, making an announcement and reading the announcement for her is a different thing. Okay. So she said, our movement prepared the statement. He just read it. And then when he was asked, oh, he's still a Miles Guo supporter? And what did she say? I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah,
or
she that's one of the other things, because there's a pattern that she just can't answer. She doesn't want to admit in court, testify, saying certain things. Like, for example, here's another one. When Sabrina asked, which is the Mr. Miles' lawyer asked, because what's her name? Yali, right? Mulan, the witness number 10. She over and over again always said that she was forced to sign the legal documents for the new GTV, for example. Okay, because she testified saying that she was forced to sign the documents, and then so Sabrina asked her, well, when asked about what evidence do you have that you were forced to sign, and she couldn't answer. So there are all these little questions, that she just can't answer. She just can't answer. And
when he was asked about NFSC, she said, it's not a concept. It's a scam. And she said, anyone. So the question was, anyone who believed in it's being scammed. Well, of course, this question being sustained, but objected. So and then she said, do you know what others think about NFSC? And she was answering on behalf of everyone that believe that it's not a concept, it's a scam. She's answered this question on behalf of everyone. But then the Sabrina or defense lawyer keep emphasizing, only talk your view on NFSC. You're not talking for anyone else. This is your view. And a lot of times during answering this question, she get I say comparatively emotional because she raised her voice. I have to say, because before her voice is really, really slow and soft. Like, she was asked numerous times to speak up for herself in the court. Even with the microphone, we can't hear her. And answering this question, she got emotional. She got, passionate. And and then sorry. And then she started talking, cutting off Sabrina, our defense lawyer.
Yeah.
Before, even she finished asking the question, she cut her off numerous times. Yeah, in the court today. And I have to mention another thing, very, very important thing about the protest that was brought up yesterday on direct and also on cross-examination. So she testified that what was it? She testified that she never went to the protest in I think it was in New York, right? In New York, about the Luke Despin.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You can give me a little background if I'm saying something wrong, because I wasn't there either. So she said she never went herself to protest. but she watched the broadcast. So when she was asked, first of all, she doesn't remember which protest she was testifying yesterday.
Right. Sabrina asked her, did she support the protest?
Hold on. So she was testifying that regarding a protest, but which protest was it in particular?
She does not remember.
Wow.
Yeah, we remember it was only one protest being testified yesterday, which was the Luke Despin protest, which happened in the end of December of 2022, I believe.
Around
there. Right,
around
like in November to
it's in the winter time.
Right. So she doesn't remember.
Yeah.
She testified.
Sabrina asked, did she support the protest? Because at the time, okay, like so no answer. Once again, no answer.
I think we're seeing a common trend here.
Oh,
with
yeah.
No answers, and I
don't remember. I don't know. We've heard it 100 times today.
I don't remember.
During the cross.
Yep.
And when it's the prosecutor asks, she remembers everything. Every detail.
The day,
every answer.
The month.
The day, the
everything.
month. Yes.
The people. I mean, the names and everything.
Names,
and then and then Sabrina asked her further the follow-up questions. Like, no one forced you to watch the protest, right? Like, 'cause at the time she was always talking about how, I trust everything about Mr. Miles, and she agrees that the CCP is evil, right? And we'll get to,
at the time.
At the time. So, anyways, so that's very interesting about the whole protest thing.
Yes, and also, she said, so that means, if you've and then Sabrina, or defense lawyer, made a point where if you watch something, that means you support it. Right, but vice versa, if you don't support something, you wouldn't watch it at all, right? Right? If you're against this movement, you don't believe it, then why are you watching it, right? So it took her 30 seconds, we counted, around 30 seconds, silence, complete silence, to answer this question. She said, I watch it because it's Alliance broadcast. That doesn't mean that anything. That doesn't mean she doesn't support it, right?
Yeah.
And she kept following the protest. Even after the 2 incidents happened, which I'm going to talk about next. The 2 incidents where someone got punched in the eye, someone got punched in the face. There were 2 incidents. And then there was document, which is a defense exhibit. So it's a document from the defense team, which is evidence. It's a Rule of Law Foundation announcement, a paper, which shows that Rule of Law Foundation took certain steps to prevent that thing happen again. And she doesn't remember the document, right? Of course. And then she doesn't remember, she doesn't recognize the logo. She was asked if you recognize this document, and she said, there's a Rule of Law Foundation, Rule of Law Society logo, and then she said she doesn't remember the logo. Sorry. She doesn't remember the document, but she recognized the logo.
Yes.
And she got, of course, her recollection refreshed by the defense.
You can definitely tell her logic as to the story, like what she testifies the day before. Because Sabrina was very fair. She said, you testified the day before, you said this, and when we asked you the question today, you're saying this. That's all Sabrina was doing. There was she was very respectful. She was speaking to her softly throughout the questioning. So, I believe that everybody in the room, not just the jury, the jurors, like everybody had a sense that, the true colors are starting to come out a little bit as to what's really going on, who this person is.
Yeah, so this document basically says, Rule of Law Foundation have noticed what's been happening, and then we're taking steps to prevent this happen again. This won't happen again. Basically, it's Miles putting out an announcement saying this kind of things won't happen again. We're trying to do anything to protect, anyone that's around or involved in this protest. And then she was asked, so is it Miles? So who runs the Rule of Law Foundation? But at this point she's using her own logic to go back at her. So she said every institution is Miles Guo's, right? So in her logic, supposedly Rule of Law Foundation is Miles' Rule of Law Foundation. It's founded by Miles Guo, and she's like, she doesn't know what running. She doesn't know what in charge of means.
So what do you mean by running a business, like running this foundation? What do you mean? So
it just goes back to the same thing that she said earlier on, they're making the announcement versus reading the statement.
Yes.
So, and same thing, I think playing around with the words.
Playing around, yes. And then so she would ask, so is Miles is running the Rule of Law Foundation, right? That took her a minute to answer that question. She does not want to admit that Rule of Law Foundation, it's founded by Miles. So MILESGUO is in charge of Rule of Law Foundation. And this announcement, basically, it's made by MILESGUO on behalf of Rule of Law Foundation, saying to prevent these incidents happening again, to protect people. So she does not want to admit it. So anything to do, the good things to do with Miles, she doesn't admit it. Anything that bad, according to her, that Miles did, was all listed, So I found that very, very interesting, and she's going back at her own logic. If Miles is running everything, so supposedly, and the good things Miles did was.
Yeah, and I mean, moving on a little bit when it comes. She was further asked about how. Mr. MILESGUO was targeted by the CCP, right? Right. And then, and the NFIC targeting by the CCP. They mentioned the SEC. Does the witness number 10 asked Yali, do you believe that the CCP is infiltrated by the CCP? And she said, well, Mr. MILESGUO said it on the live and everything else. But the name George Higginbotham came up, and she was asked, he's the CCP, that's trying to hurt him, which is Mr. Miles, right? And then, why does she believe that the SEC, for example, is infiltrated by the CCP? But anyways, with George Higginbotham, he's actually a convicted CCP agent. So that came on in the court. It's very interesting. So that'll be a part of the transcript. And but yeah, so for me at least, the very initial beginning, you can start seeing all the cracks in her stories as to what she said, what she testified the day before in court, and the things she's saying now. It definitely felt like, it's like, for example, as a truthful person, when you ask somebody something, you just tell whatever the truth is. There's no need to try to storytell, right? You just share the truth when you're asked, right? What is your favorite color? Okay, my favorite color is orange, or whatever the color is. You don't need to think, okay, if I say red, I don't know what people is gonna think of me if I say the color red. So there's no need to storytell. But anyways, that's something.
Remember the refund for the follower for the GEG club?
Yeah.
That even MILESGUO didn't tell her to do that, and she still did. And then it was asked, why do you do it still? And she said, depends on what it is.
Right, and I think through all of this, you have to, we see the prosecution side's argument through this witness is trying to paint Miles and the G series and also the Himalaya Alliance as a criminal enterprise because of the RICO count and trying to make the association that Miles is the one pulling the strings because there was numerous times where she tried to say that she said that Miles was the one who instructed her to do many things or she did certain things because she believed in Miles. And again, you see the parts where she did things that where she disobeyed Miles's advice on a certain matter. So I think this is something that is very interesting, especially when you're under oath. You're supposed to say nothing.
That's
course.
right.
But the truth.
Yeah.
That's right.
And there's similar documents. There's nothing related to her. This doesn't show. Doesn't show anything that's related to her. The only reason she could testify those documents because the prosecutor showed it to her. There's nothing to do with her. She was never, had her hands laid on it. Doing any of the documents and any of the decisions on certain matters. And as well as I want to mention this Mawa mention. That were really, really interested to me. On the translation thing. So Miles made a certain, I would say, send a certain voice message to Mulan. So
was this one of the pieces of evidence that was brought up?
Yes. And then this document was translated to English, so it's Miles' message to the lawyer Aaron.
Oh, so
right?
Okay.
It's a translation, and it was mentioned that they want this house. They didn't mention which house. They just mentioned this house to be purchased.
Yeah.
And also to be made for his family to live there, for G-Club members to convert to G-Club members to be there. And according to Mulan, he never told her anything about NFSC base that's going to convert it to. But then a lot of things she doesn't know. Her memory is only limited to what she knows, right? And a lot of things that happen that she might not know. Because of course Miles wouldn't tell her everything. So to her understanding, that when he meant in the document, he wants his own family to live there. But then yesterday, she testified that Miles calls her sister Mulan because Miles sees everyone in the whistleblower movement as their family, like sisters and brothers. And she claims that it's a way to manipulate people, to control her. So in that setting,
hold on, let's backtrack a little bit. What do you mean by how is he trying to control her? That's where I'm confused.
Like mind manipulation,
with the whole the document that came on that they're going over about the property. The thing is, there's legal language that says that any information from the document is not to be leaked to anywhere under any circumstance. I mean, we can go to the transcript and really dig into the evidence, but here we are talking about it. So
the document should never be disclosed with a third party, even in the court today.
She translated it.
Yeah,
you see,
it's completely confidential to this day. Right. Yeah. And then I'm just saying, in the documents, in Miles's words, he wants his family to live there, to want to convert for G Club members to go to live there, to stay there, and all that. And then by family, he meant, to Mulan's understanding, to the witness 10's understanding, the family means Miles's own family, so him and his wife and anyone blood related to him. Doesn't mean the family of the whistleblower movement. So she thinks Miles is using the family concept as brother and sisters to control her, but she precluded, right? Is it precluded? She precluded herself from this document, the concept family, because she thinks she won't stay here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So she's saying that he's using the concept of family to control her, but she did not even consider herself to be. She excluded herself.
Yes.
She's applying the meaning of the word family via her own perception of what it means, versus what Mr. MILESGUO really intended for the word to mean.
Right.
Because when Mr. MILESGUO says family, he's, according to the actual evidence, he's referring to the G Club members, the whistleblower movement, NFSC, we are all one family. He's not saying, hey, my family like my wife or my family, right? The personal family.
And in the documents, it referred family as our family. The pronoun was always our family. It never said my own family or my family. So this is to her what family is.
And also something interesting, just right before that, Sabrina did ask her about Himalayan exchange, about H1, and guess what? It actually legitimized in court that because we found out from her testimony, the witness number 10, Yali, that she took out $30,000 from Himalayan exchange straight to her bank account, independent of Mr. MILESGUO asking her to do it or not to do it. She did it on her own, $30K. So that legitimized the exchange. Legitimized the whole deal. So I thought that was something interesting I want to bring up.
Right.
Because she keep talking about that she never got any benefits, but we found out she got paid $10,000 a month.
That was something that happened yesterday when we were talking about her compensation.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
She never directly answered the question. Anything related, anything that's benefited her throughout this whole time. And also after Miles was arrested in March 15th last year, 2023, from March to August, she didn't go to anyone. She didn't go to anyone to report that this is a fraudulent. From March to August, she still manages the fund at HAA Fund. She still runs Archwood Farm.
Yeah, I think it goes back to relating her to a bunch of these financial institutions, companies.
Right.
Because again, the same thing. They're trying to make her seem like she's very extremely involved because she's also used to be a member of the Iron Will group as well. But again, with the amount of loss of information,
yes,
you can begin to see the discrepancies,
right,
and discrepancies of the information she was giving out.
Yeah, because when it comes to these funds, the Archwood Fund, the HAA Fund, for example, Sabrina was asking her because we're trying to identify her relationship with these funds, right? Because she's the ultimate beneficiary owner of both of these funds, so she actually has the legal rights to control and manage these funds. So, and that was made very clear. And then when Sabrina asked her, how long did she manage to fund for? Some questions about this fund. She said, I don't know. It's
or
just
don't
like,
remember.
I don't remember. And she was just, I think she was starting to, definitely break down a little bit from the questioning.
Yeah, and then, and there's a certain question, we all know that it's not the way, we all know the answer. Even the jurors know the answer to the question. For example, when they were talking about this bankruptcy, according to her, it was a false affidavit. Affidavit that a lawyer Young asked her to sign, and then according to her, he threatened her, if she doesn't sign, blah blah blah, something would happen.
Because she would have to be personally responsible for $38 million, but the proper language was not her, it was the alliance.
The alliance would be responsible. The alliance will be responsible for all this money. It's gonna be very,
Correct, because it's very tricky, because if you take a look, and as they dug into the finances of the fund, Archwood and HAA, it was actually the creditor to the trustee, the bankruptcy trustee. So what happens is if she signed the paper, the money will actually go back to where it needs to go instead. But if she didn't sign it, I believe
this is
it will go to the trustee.
The bankruptcy case that back in, I believe, when was it? It was 2020.
I might have to refresh my memory on this case,
right,
but
it
was sometime in the past.
Yes.
Years.
Yeah.
Yes.
But let's. But for the sake of time, I think we have about 13 minutes left, and I know there were a couple more witnesses today.
Okay.
I did also want you guys to introduce these two witnesses.
For sure. But I just want to say that one question that everyone knows is that no one actually threatened her to kick her out of the movement, where there's no any actual physical violence that happened, and she was asking if the word by word if Yang, the lawyer, threatened her to kick her out of the movement if she doesn't sign documents, she said, she didn't say no. She said, but it made me feel like that. 4 or 5 times. And at this point, we know what the answer is. So there's no
it's
no
very interesting. There's actually so much that's happened, and I'm pretty sure for everybody tuning in, go to NFSC Speaks for all the latest updates, because we only have so much time every episode. There's so much more information. This was a super amazing.
Please follow the transcript
on
the NFSC official.
Also, it highlights the patience of everyone in the call.
Yes,
oh my gosh.
Yes,
I mean, one thing I'll say about Yali is, like, Mr. Malik will say, hey, my phone was hacked. Hey, get a new number, get a new phone. And then she testified the day yesterday saying that she deleted all the messages and whatnot, but today she testified that she actually kept all of the messages on her phone. Yeah,
all the direct messages. All the direct messages with Miles,
all the direct messages with Miss Miles. Yep, everything.
It just goes back to another thing too. I think if you look at her profession, she's an accountant.
Yeah.
So there's not supposed to be this many discrepancies if her job is literally to
pay attention to details.
Is to hyper focus on these details, and her job and her profession literally is about details.
Correct.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Yeah, I mean, witness number 10, Yali. Everybody dig into her story a little bit. There's so much to tell you guys. It's just.
And she testified here. He's here today to tell the truth, not against Miles. When Max has already told everybody that she was asked, if you're here just to against Miles, and that Miles it's against the CCP, so that means if you disavow against Miles, that means you can go back to China. She said no, she's here to tell the truth, which the whole thing is a scam, and she's not here to be against Miles.
Yeah.
According to her.
Yeah. So. I mean, this witness has a lot of interesting stories.
Before we move on a little bit, there's one thing I want to actually touch upon to see if there's anything in that regard. It's about her non-prosecution agreement.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's something we also should take a look at before we cover the next two, because I think it moves on very quickly.
Very quick.
So let us focus on the non-prosecution agreement, because I think that is something that's very, very interesting.
Yep.
just because she's in Australia, like Isla has mentioned yesterday, she's in Australia. She theoretically does not present any immediate danger to prosecution. So the fact that she decided to enter into this agreement with the government, that's something very interesting to look at.
Absolutely, because she testified in court saying that she volunteered. Reached out to the trustee on her own, communicated with the trustee on her own for the Mr. Miles bankruptcy case. And what's interesting about the non-prosecutor agreement is that because
she doesn't remember as well. She doesn't remember when she.
Well, she says she doesn't remember.
Yeah.
Right, but we'll find out the truth when the time comes.
Right.
But here's the thing about
we'll find out about the truth.
Yeah.
The truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. Right. And then and there's a video. They had a screenshot of a past live stream. It was VOA 5th year anniversary. Mr. MILESGUO was here. Chandal David was sitting next to Mr. Miles, and they're everybody on the screen, right? And then there was a picture of her using her fake profile picture, which is the Mulan, right?
She did not show her face.
Did not show her face.
No.
And then so Sabrina followed up and asked, so why didn't you show your face? She said, well, I'm afraid of the CCP.
No, she said, because I don't want to show my face. I just don't want to show my face. But are you scared of CCP? And she said yes. Boom. So when she's with the movement, she's scared of CCP. That's why she doesn't show her face. Now she's no longer. And then she said, but I am showing my face now at the court. But then Sabrina pointed out, now you're not with the movement. That's why you decide to show your face, and because you're against the MILESGUO.
Well, yeah. I mean, she was asked.
That is awesome.
Right. And should we just jump back to the no prosecution agreement?
Yeah, the non-prosecution agreement for sure. I mean, it was. I mean, this actually relates to it is because of the non-prosecution agreement. Okay, with the government, which is what the prosecutors. She testified in court when she was asked, "You are no longer worried about the U.S. government, correct? Because of the non-prosecution agreement with the U.S. government. So, why did you not? So." Because she's not worried about the U.S. government, she was asked in court, "Are you still worried about the CCP?" And she said, "Correct. Yes, she's worried about the CCP." Right. So, and the question now became, what the solution is to testify against Mr. MILESGUO, correct? Because if she's no longer afraid or worried about the U.S. government, because now she has the non-prosecutor agreement in place, then who else is after her?
She said she feels safe. She feels
safe from the U.S. government. Because she has
Yes.
coverage because of all these different things they added into the agreement.
Right.
But she still said in court, testified that she's afraid of the CCP. She's worried about them going after her family because they actually sent the Ministry of Security to her family. The CCP went after
I don't know if you remember, this non-prosecution agreement has two versions. There's one with a certain institution's name in it. And there's
HAA.
another one with...
The first version did not have HAA, which was one of the fun. And then she was the one that brought it up to say, yep. And then the second one was the one she said, hey, you guys need to include this.
Yes. And then
which is the
that's
fund that she controls.
the final non-prosecution agreement signed by her and both the lawyers as well. Yeah.
It's very interesting.
This is the more details that we found out today.
I mean, hey, these are the details we're looking for to do this trial. And also, I think it's the non-prosecution agreement. I think with that, there's a good point that you brought up is the CCP. She still feels like the CCP is a threat. Like that is something that is undeniable, and that's the reason why Miles does what he does to spends all his efforts to take down the CCP. Just because, as I mentioned before, CCP is one of the most evil regimes in existence, and I think it has been a recurring theme throughout the trial with the witnesses as they were giving the testimonies, and all of them said about how horrible the CCP is. I think especially with some of the members some of the people who used to be members as well. They
all testify in court saying that they still believe the CCP is evil.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
But then it's very interesting. They all did testify. So it's on the transcript. You can't lie about it unless if she's lying, then guess what? The prosecutor cannot go after her because of she's lying.
For sure.
Well, we have just 5 minutes left. Let's run through the next 2 witnesses real quick.
Okay, the witness 11 today, I think it was only lasted for like
50 minutes.
50 minutes. Wow.
Quick.
Okay, 50 minutes, not even an hour, 50 minutes. He was the president and manager of the Post Oak Motor motor cars, which is a Bugatti.
They're a dealership.
Dealership, yeah.
And then they're the one that sold the Bugatti to G Clubs.
In Houston, Texas. So, in his testimony, basically he was explaining how much the car worth, what is a hypercar, and how the price is this way, the base price, what's the total price, and who purchased
essentially with this witness, number 11, his name is Lonnie Souza, Lonnysoza. He came in around 1:35, but he was, direct was with Finkel. Essentially what they did was go over the logistics of the financing in terms of whose names were used, when did they transfer the money, wire the money.
So very similar to the time when the individual from Lamborghini.
Yes, very similar.
And this is with a Bugatti Chiron Super Sport, right? Very nice. And but let's just say the rec went through the financing, the who's, the dates and everything else, and then when the cross came in, it was just, it was swift is the word.
Yeah, first of all, they explain how much this car is worth, and how much it costs for only a tire change, and then you gotta change a tire per 500 miles. One tire is $10,000 and all that. And then it was showing an email with Mr. He. Which has something to do with the taxes, question regarding to the shipments and the tax registrations, the delivery, and etc. And then there's no payment.
With this witness, at the end of the day, the logistics were proven to be 100% clean with the finances.
Yes.
But one thing I do want to point out about this witness is that the prosecutor used a version of one of the purchase contracts or agreements.
It's personal configuration. Lyndon. Yeah.
Okay,
that's
but they had a version of the document when the direct was using that was not signed. And then when they brought up the real agreement of the person that actually bought, that signed the paperwork, that bought the actual vehicle, because they used two different documents. So when they brought in evidence the real document with the real signatures, because the other one didn't even have the signature. So I can send you a purchase contract for a home, but if you never signed it, you never bought it, right? So then when the cross came in, he presented the actual purchase contract with the signatures and the dates and everything else. And let's just say that was a swift one.
And it's purchased by G Club International.
Sorry to cut you off, Heather.
Yes.
We're very short on time.
Yes.
Let's just introduce the next witness real quick, and then we can recap next time.
For sure. We didn't go through the cross exam yet, but when we left, it was a cross. So when we started the direct at 2:30, and it's FBI agent, New York special agent. Margaret Murphy. She worked at evidence response team. Basically, she got a search warrant and she went to search the Sheraton Netherlands Hotel, the 18th floor in New York of Miles' house.
Which is where Miles was on the day he was arrested on March 15th.
That's right.
Yep, that was the raid.
She had an arrest warrant and a search warrant. And then, was showing a list of evidence that they found in the house.
So this one will be very interesting to definitely touch upon a little bit. I think they only just started to direct examine this witness, correct?
And then when we left, they started cross-exam already.
It was
quick,
that was
too.
quick.
Yes.
It was quick.
Actually, one final question. When you say quick, is there any objections or as much as before?
No, there's no objections.
No objections at all.
She literally came on and explained the blueprint of the layout of the Sheraton Netherlands, the address of it. They went through Mr. Miles' closet. Oh my God, look at the suits. Brioni, made for Mr. Quagg.
Yes.
Things like that.
Even with the dealership, the Bugatti dealership, there was no objections throughout the entire cross-examination by our defense lawyer. And and then, the direct only lasted for 15 minutes.
15, wow.
15 minutes.
That's very swift.
15 minutes for the witness 12 that, started today.
I mean, with witness 11 with the Bugatti, the dealership president, I mean, that one witness alone, including the witness number 10 with the Ali story and everything else, I mean, that really painted a really clean picture for the jurors and everybody in the courtroom, actually. And it's like, wow, they were proven wrong. Like, I mean, they didn't even have the proper paperwork with the proper contract. Well, I mean, the proper signatures. It's like, how did they make that little mistake? Like, I mean, that's a huge mistake, but it's like, but anyways, I think.
All the payments were made by G Club International Limited.
Well, we're running out of time for the show
sure.
today, but again, I know you guys are very excited about the information that was discussed, and I can tell there's been so much that's being discussed. So, thank you, Jackson and Feder, for coming on. And to our viewers, our transcripts are always on our official website, nfscofficial.com. You guys can feel free to take a look at the transcripts. It's nothing too complicated with these transcripts. If you just really look at it, they're very conversational, and they really do give a very clear picture of what transpired that day in the trial. So if you guys are getting interested in the trial, please do follow us on NFSC Speaks, and also take a look at the transcripts on our NFSC official website. And I believe we're getting close to the end of the government witnesses, and very soon we will be very soon Miles's witnesses will be coming out to testify, so that will be very interesting to say the least. With that being said, everybody have a great day, and tomorrow tune in at 12 p.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern. Ava Chen will be live on Whistleblowers. God bless.